Hi, welcome to Mindfully Connected with Donna, a podcast where we explore the world of self-care nuggets for mind, body, and spirit. And in today's episode, we're going to look at nurturing your inner compass, the Empathic's Energy Mastery Guide. So it's an opportunity just to explore the world of empathy and your sensitivity energetically. So what is empathy? Let's start with what empathy is. Empathy, it's not sympathy. A lot of people confuse those two. Sympathy is just outwardly looking in and having compassion, maybe for a situation. But empathy, or an empath, has the ability to understand and share the feelings, the emotions, and the perspectives of another person. So you're not so much third person. You really are a part of their process. You take on those feelings, and it involves the capacity to step into someone else's shoes and to see the world from their point of view and connect with their emotions and their experiences on a deep level. Empathy allows individuals to not only recognize what another person is feeling, but also to genuinely care about and respond to those emotions with compassion and understanding. And there are different kinds of empathy. There's cognitive empathy, and this is an aspect of empathy that involves understanding and grasping another's emotional state and their perspective. So their emotional state through their perspective. Then there's emotional empathy. And emotional empathy is the ability to actually share in the emotional experience. So you're not just understanding it, you are actually experiencing it. So if someone is sad, you're feeling sad, even though it's not your experience. And then we have compassionate empathy. Compassionate empathy takes empathy a step further by not only understanding and sharing the feelings of others, but also taking action to help and support them. So this is someone that's really aware of their sensitivity and can manage it and really generate a positive force with it and make a positive difference maybe in someone else's life. Empathy is a fundamental human trait, and it plays a crucial role in building connections, fostering understanding, and promoting kindness and cooperation. It allows us to relate to one another, build meaningful relationships, and respond with care and compassion with our interpersonal skills. So empathy is often seen as a key element of emotional intelligence, and it is considered essential for healthy communication, conflict resolution, and building a more empathic and compassionate society. But what happens when you're taking on the experience of someone else, whether it be emotionally, maybe physically, and you find that it's generating anxiety for you, or it's just too much? And that's what we're talking about when we talk about nurturing this inner compass. So every one of us is an empath. Okay, that's a tool we came here with. Some of us, however, are energetically more sensitive, which means that your empathic nature is also going to be more sensitive. It's not the only thing that's going to be more sensitive, but it is an aspect of you that is heightened. So let's delve into the fascinating journey of being an empath, how you can harness your abilities to lead a more balanced life. And, it's like I said, not so much a title, it's just an understanding of who we all are and who you might be. So let's dive right in. So again, we define empathy as the ability to feel and understand the emotions of others, and as if they were your own. So many empaths have heightened sensitivity to these emotions, which can be both a blessing and the challenge. So, empathy, although it's a beautiful gift, can also be overwhelming if not managed correctly. So understanding it is the first key step towards mastering your empathic ability. So you want to nurture, right? We don't want to turn it off. We want to nurture this inner compass. So how can we nurture the inner compass to manage our energy effectively? So I have always, a side note, mentioned that I have always been sensitive. And when I started in the world of spa many years ago, 20 years ago, I really became aware of heightened sensitivity, because when I would work with someone, I would take on another's emotions, and there was a lot of expansion going on in my personal development and my spiritual development, but I didn't quite understand what was happening. Now I know that, we all are an empath, but some of us really are, the volume is just turned up a little bit. And it can make us sensitive to lights and to sounds and to any of our sensory system can be heightened almost to an annoying aspect, I believe, if we're sensitive. And when you're an empath, you're utilizing a sensory system. You're utilizing, that ability to feel, and it can be heightened. So the first thing we want to consider is how to distinguish between your own energy and someone else's energy. How do we do that? Because we're going to pick it up from others, and we can do that by practicing a bit more self-awareness around when say I'm having a day where I'm really feeling a certain way. Stop and take notice, who have you been around? What have you experienced? And regardless of how you got there, a really important factor is to sort of bring your energy back to your container. And you can do that, and you can really cultivate a sort of more neutral place on a regular basis by practicing some grounding techniques. And they really help center you and keep you more neutral. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel and you're not going to ebb and flow. It just means that you're really good about, protecting and guarding your own energy and accepting, but allowing deflection in another's energy. So practicing some grounding techniques. So that might be something like, when you're feeling worked up, maybe just separate yourself. Take some simple deep breaths, deep belly breaths. Maybe even step outside. And another tool I like to recommend is to use your imagination, because energy is directed through our intention, and see yourself with a clear, invisible glass shield around you. And this shield doesn't allow any permeation of another's energy unless you choose to. Okay, so moving along, another important factor in nurturing your inner compass is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. This is crucial for empaths. How can we establish and maintain healthy boundaries? Well, really open communication, open and honest communication with loved ones, and really being brave about expressing your needs very clearly. And it's also essential to learn when to say no and prioritize your self-care without guilt. It's hard to say no. So a suggestion here would be, when someone is asking something of you and you're not entirely feeling it, it's okay to take a pause. Pause so that you can properly process what's being asked of you, and then you choose whether you still say no, you still say yes, or you say no. Okay, so it's always good to take a pause. I need this from you. Okay, all right, well, let me get back to you. It's okay to take a pause. And then you process a bit of that energy, a bit of that emotion, and know whether saying yes or no is the right decision for you. Next, we want to just really consider energy cleansing and protection because they're, often mentioned in empathic circles. But some practices for this could be maybe at the end of the day, you do a little smudging. I like to smudge. I like to just use regular, nice smelling incense. It's the smoke. It's the idea that we are using our intention with the smoke to clear stagnant energy. Another idea might be to actually close your eyes and imagine all of the bits of energy that you've gathered from work, from others, from, your busy household, whatever it is. You're just sending those back out to the universe so that they can be recycled. You don't have to be the container for that. You can release it. And maybe take a salt bath or even just sit with a healing crystal and visualize again that protective shield around yourself. Especially that protective shield works really well when you're in a crowded, energetically taxing environment. So empaths often find themselves in deep and meaningful relationships because they feel so deeply. But how can you navigate the dynamics of this heightened empathy in personal relationships? Well, I say embrace empathy in these relationships because they can deepen those connections. But it's going to be essential for you to maintain your individuality. So practice active listening. And remember, we mentioned it earlier, you have to communicate your needs and you choose partners who support your empathic journey. So they may know that you're sensitive and you feel heavily. And maybe it's important for you to have a partner that feels as deeply. And if not, sometimes it's really okay to have someone that is the opposite because it really does help you create boundaries and offset your energetic capacity. So empathy can extend beyond personal relationships into societal issues. We watch the news, we hear all the stuff that's out there all the time, right? It's in the media, it's everywhere. Pick up our phone, you're going to see it. Well, how can empaths use their gifts to contribute more positively to the world? Because there's so much crap and we have, we can feel so deeply into things that this can be a real positive aspect as far as giving back to the world. So it's maybe considering whether you're an advocate for social change, using your empathy to understand and address the suffering of others. And you can do it in the smallest ways. You see someone that's maybe they're panhandling on the corner and you don't really know what they're going to do with that money, but you can always not give money. I think we all hesitate there. I always think give it to them, you do you, and then it's not for us to judge. But I think it feels more comfortable for most of us really to just maybe provide some food or a bottle of water, whatever it is in the smallest of ways even, you can do to impact in a positive way. So just raising awareness and working towards creating a more compassionate world. So I hope that some of that helps as far as just how you can manage day to day your empathy a little better. Don't see it as a curse. Absolutely see it as a gift. I know it can be challenging at times, and as it can lead to emotional overwhelm or exhaustion and difficulty in setting boundaries, empaths may find it hard to even differentiate between their own emotions and those of others, pretty regularly. But it's a beautiful and valuable trait, and it requires just a lot of self-awareness, a lot of balance. And then as you implement more of that, you will find that you are a source of strength, and your empathy is really that gift that I'm talking about, rather than this source of stress. So there you have it. If you've enjoyed this episode of Empathic Energy Mastery and Nurturing Your Inner Compass, please just, give a shout out, leave a review. You can also connect with me on social media for any updates and additional resources. You can reach out anytime at www.mindfullyconnected.org. So until next time, take good care of your empathic, beautiful empathic soul, and keep nurturing your inner compass. Bye now.